One of our subscribers named Biona shared this story, and the moment her first class seat was given to a dog was the moment she stopped trying to belong. Do not board. We told the senator's family, you are in rehab. Your presence ruins the aesthetic. We gave your first class seat to the dog. My mother's text hit my phone like a slap. Before I could even process it, another notification appeared. My sister, Brittany, was live from seat 1A, the seat I paid for, holding her French bulldog like a trophy. Caption, finally got rid of the bad energy. Family cleanse. I didn't cry. I didn't argue with the gate agent. I stared at the screen and felt something unfamiliar settle inside me. Not sadness, calculation. They thought they were discarding me. They didn't realize they had just declared war on the wrong defense contractor. I turned around and walked away from the gate. I wasn't going to Aspen to join them. I was going to bury them. Drop a comment and tell me where you're listening from and what time it is right now. I want to see how far this story travels. The airport noise faded into a dull hum as I walked through the terminal. I'm 29 years old. To my family, I'm Biona, the struggling freelance IT consultant who lives in a studio apartment and drives a 5-year-old sedan. They think I scrape by. They think I need their approval. They have no idea that last month I negotiated a $600 million cyber logistics contract for the Department of Defense. They don't know my studio apartment is a decoy mailing address. My real home is a $15 million fortress of glass and steel built into a mountainside in Aspen. They don't know I could buy the airline they were flying on. I stopped at a kiosk and bought a bottle of water. My hand trembled slightly as I tapped my card. Not from sadness, from clarity. For years, I had been the invisible architect of their comfort. I remembered Brittany's college graduation. My mother, Constance, had pulled me aside with tears in her eyes. "The $80,000 student loans are crushing us," she whispered. I paid them the next morning. No thank you, just a text from Brittany asking if I could cover her post-graduation decompression trip to Bali. I paid for that too. Memories hit in sharp flashes as I walked toward the exit. The car I bought Constance when hers broke down, the deposit for the Aspen bundle they were staying in right now. Every emergency, every temporary crisis, I had been their fixer, their safety net, their bank. I thought I was buying love. I thought usefulness would earn permanence. But that's the trap of the utility relationship. In a toxic family, you're not a person, you're an appliance, a toaster, a lawnmower. You exist as long as you serve a function, and when they upgrade, you get discarded. They don't store the old toaster, they throw it away. Constance didn't uninvite me because she was ashamed. She uninvited me because she upgraded. The senator's son offered prestige, power, status, things my money couldn't buy in her mind. I had been the bridge. Now they were burning it behind them. Cold air hit my face as the automatic doors slid open. They thought I would go back to my fake apartment and cry. They forgot what I actually do for a living. I don't just build systems, I dismantle threats. I opened my banking app. The balance wasn't a number, it was leverage. They wanted a story where I was unstable, broken, in rehab. Fine, I'd give them a story, just not the one they expected. I wasn't going to be the victim in their Aspen fairy tale. I was going to be the director. My phone buzzed again. I expected another message from Brittany or another demand from Constance. Instead, security alert. Transaction declined. Amount $200,000. Merchant. Rolex Boutique, Aspen. Card ending 8841. I stopped walking. The world went quiet. Those last 4 digits didn't belong to my personal card, not my business account. That was the black titanium card locked in the fireproof box in my old bedroom. the card issued directly through Department of Defense. Procurement channels. Constance had gone into my room, found the box, broken the lock, seen the card. She didn't know what it was. To her, it looked like unlimited money. She was trying to buy the senator's son a Rolex, a bribe disguised as a gift, a ticket into high society with my classified procurement card. A normal daughter would panic. I didn't, because the moment she swiped that card, she crossed from betrayal into a federal investigation. A normal daughter would call the bank, scream fraud, and shut it down to save her mother from prison. I hovered my thumb over the deny button. If I pressed it, the transaction would fail. Constance would be embarrassed at the register, maybe have to use her own card, but she would be safe. It would just be a family squabble. But then I remembered the text. We gave your seat to the dog. I remembered the years of being the ATM. I remembered the way she looked at me when I paid off her mortgage, not with gratitude, but with expectation. She didn't just want my money, she felt entitled to it, and now she felt entitled to steal it. I moved my thumb. If I authorized this, it wasn't just theft. It wasn't a civil dispute I could drop later when she cried and begged. This was federal funds. This was taxpayer money allocated for cyber defense infrastructure. By using this card for personal luxury goods, Constance wasn't just stealing from me. She was embezzling from the United States government. The moment that charge went through, a flag would be raised in a server room in Virginia. An investigation would open automatically. There would be no taking it back. There would be no it was a misunderstanding. There would only be federal agents and mandatory minimum sentencing. My mother wanted to play the big game. She wanted to exist in a world of high stakes and power. Fine. I would give her the full experience. I tapped the button marked Authorize Transaction. A second later, the confirmation flashed on the screen. Transaction approved. Somewhere in Aspen, Constance was probably smiling at the sales clerk, handing over a watch she thought was a gift from her freelance daughter. She was fastening a platinum handcuff around her own wrist, and she didn't even know it. The trap wasn't just set, it was welded shut. I put the phone back in my pocket. The coldness in my chest spread, settling into a hard, diamond-like column. I wasn't going home to cry. I had a party to plan. I didn't browse travel sites for a last-minute economy seat. I opened my encrypted contacts list and dialed a number I hadn't used since the Kabul extraction logistics project. I need the Bombardier Global 7500. I said, the moment the broker answered. Tarmac 2 hours and send the fleet of black SUVs to the following 25 addresses. Constance had made a fatal error in her aesthetic purge. By uninviting everyone who didn't fit her image of high society, she had alienated the people who actually held the family together. Aunt Sarah, who made the best potato salad but wore thrift store coats, Uncle Mike, the mechanic with grease under his nails, and Grandma Josephine, the matriarch Constance had shoved into a nursing home for her own good while claiming she was too frail to travel. I sent a single mass text to the reject list. Mom said there wasn't enough room for you in Aspen. She lied. A car is outside your house right now. Pack for snow. We aren't just going to dinner. We're taking back the holiday. I didn't have to convince them. They were hurt, angry, and confused when the fleet of Escalades deposited them at the private hangar. Confusion turned to shock. They stood on the tarmac staring at the $75 million jet gleaming under the floodlights, clutching their Target suitcases. "Biona," Aunt Sarah whispered, walking up to me. "Honey, did you win the lottery?" "Something like that," I said, guiding Grandma Josephine up the stairs. "I work hard, Aunt Sarah, and it turns out the government pays better than Mom thinks." As we leveled out at 45,000 feet, the cabin was filled with the sound of crystal clinking and genuine laughter, a sound I hadn't heard at a family gathering in years. My cousins were eating caviar like it was popcorn. Because it wasn't her style. As you can see, this is the valet stand at a nightclub in the meatpacking district, and that is Amber handing the keys of that rejected gift to a valet. On the screen, Amber looked blurry but undeniable, laughing, handing over the fob to the very car parked in the driveway right now. Amber dropped her champagne flute. It shattered on the flagstones, the sound exploding like a gunshot in the quiet. Arthur swiped the screen again. A grainy security clip appeared. Cynthia, blonde highlights visible, signing papers in a dingy office. Exhibit B, September 1st, quick cash title loans, Arthur said. Here is Cynthia signing a collateral agreement. Cynthia gasped. Dad, stop! Arthur ignored her. You didn't just steal the car. Jolie owned the title. You forged her signature to take out a $20,000 predatory loan and spent it on a villa in Tulum and a wardrobe for Amber. The crowd collectively recoiled. This was no family spat anymore. Arthur set down the tablet, his voice icy. This is grand larceny and identity theft, felonies in New York. Police lights flashed through the gate. Two officers approached Cynthia to arrest her. Cornered, Cynthia pulled out a document and declared she had power of attorney authorizing her to manage Jolie's finances. The police examined it and hesitated. On paper, it looked valid. The mood shifted. Cynthia turned on her daughter, accusing Jolie of lying and filing a false report. Even I faltered until Arthur stepped forward. Check the date, he said calmly. Valentine's Day. He then produced a notarized affidavit proving the document was forged. Cynthia bribed a notary in a parking lot. The officers instantly pivoted back to arrest mode. Why didn't you stop me? Cynthia whispered. Arthur's answer was brutal. Forgery alone wasn't enough. I needed a felony to activate the no contest clause in my trust. I let you run up the charges. You didn't just steal a car, you stole your own inheritance. Cynthia collapsed as police cuffed her and dragged her to the squad car, screaming. Amber realized her free ride had ended. Arthur returned to the microphone. The bar is open. Later, he handed me the Range Rover keys. It's yours. The loan is cleared. I refused. Sell it. I want the cash for my new firm. He smiled. Done. I left the party, deleted my mother's and Amber's contacts, and watched the Hamptons disappear behind me, not with sorrow, but with clarity. I wasn't just vindicated. I was free. Aunt Sarah was laughing so hard she was crying. Uncle Mike was high-fiving a waiter. For a moment, it felt like victory. But I watched the dark figure of my mother pacing in the window below. She wasn't defeated. She was regrouping. I knew Constance. She didn't retreat. She escalated, and I knew exactly what she would do next. The celebration lasted exactly 12 minutes. One moment, my cousins were toasting to the good life. The next, the room was washed in a strobe of red and white light. Sirens cut through the music, loud and distorted, echoing off the glass walls of my living room. "Police?" Uncle Mike asked, standing up. "Did the neighbors call a noise complaint?" "No," I said, watching the vehicle tear up my heated driveway. It wasn't a police cruiser. It was a private ambulance. The front doors burst open before I could even move. Constance didn't walk in. She rushed in, her face a mask of sheer, terrified panic. Behind her was Dr. Aries, a family friend who had lost his license to prescribe opioids years ago, but still carried a clipboard like a shield. Two burly men in scrubs followed, carrying a restraint chair. "Oh, thank God!" Constance cried out, rushing toward me with her arms outstretched. "We made it in time! Biona, honey, it's okay. Mommy is here." The room went dead silent. My cousins looked from me to her, confused. "Get away from me," I said, stepping back. "She's spiraling," Constance sobbed, turning to Aunt Sarah. "She stopped taking her meds weeks ago. The rehab facility called me. They said she's having a complete psychotic break. She thinks she owns this house. She thinks she has money." This was the masterclass of the Darwin defense. Deny, attack, reverse, victim and offender. In seconds, Constance had rewritten reality. She wasn't the abuser who had stolen from me. She was the heroic mother trying to save her delusional daughter. She denied her cruelty by acting out of love. She attacked my credibility by labeling me insane, and she reversed the roles. I was the danger, and she was the victim. "I do own this house," I said, my voice steady, though my heart hammered against my ribs. "See?" Constance whispered to Dr. Aries, pointing a shaking finger at me. "Delusions of grandeur. She's a freelance IT worker, doctor. She makes $40,000 a year. How could she own a $15 million estate? She broke in. She's squatting here." The room went still. My cousins stared at the marble floor, unable to believe that I, the girl who fixed routers, was really in control. Dr. Aries stepped forward with a form. "Biona, I'm placing you on an M1 psychiatric hold, 72 hours secure facility." Grandma protested, but my mother, Constance, pounced, accusing me of kidnapping, manic behavior, and signaling the orderlies to restrain me. They pinned my arms and buckled me into the chair. Constance stroked my cheek, whispering she would handle the house, the cards, the accounts, while I was locked away. That was her plan. Get me committed, seize guardianship, drain everything I owned. Then, blue police lights flashed outside. Constance smiled until the officers asked, "Are you Constance Taylor?" They weren't there for a mental crisis. They were responding to a Department of Defense fraud alert. I held up my phone, showing the government seal. "That credit card you used wasn't mine. It was a federal procurement card. You stole $200,000 of the United States." The orderlies dropped me instantly. Constance demanded I fix it. But federal theft isn't personal. Once flagged, prosecution is automatic. The victim isn't me, it's the government. The officer cuffed her. "Constance Taylor, you're under arrest for wire fraud and embezzlement." Dr. Barries was detained for questioning. The police led her out, sobbing, begging for someone important to rescue her. No one would. Silence fell. My cousins watched the hierarchy collapse in real time. Brittany checked her phone. Her senator boyfriend blocked her. "You ruined my life," she sobbed. "No, I said. I stopped funding it. I told her she could stay in the rental until 10 a.m. I owned that one, too. Outside, Grandma joined me as snow fell over the empty driveway. "She'll never forgive you," she said. "I know," I answered. "That's the point." Grandma smiled. "I'm glad you finally bit back. She would have devoured you." For years, I thought peace meant tolerating abuse. Now I understood. Peace requires boundaries, teeth, and proof. Inside, the house felt clean again. The wind tasted like freedom.